As he tried new spells to try and increase the number of monsters that he was killing, nothing he tried seemed to decrease the numbers. It felt like an endless wave that would continue to crash against him. "I will not let it end like this," he growled at the monsters around him. Just as he was about to teleport himself and his companions away, he came up with an idea. Forging a sword into his hand and quickly programming it with a new attribute, Han looked at a nearby monster rushing towards him and stabbed it. "See how you like that, you son of a bitch?" As the monster appeared to be unharmed, aside from a small wound on its shoulder, it appeared to shrug something off as it shook its head. The creature began clawing at the ground in frustration, as it looked to be in great degree of pain as time passed. Bashing its head into the ground, it looked to be fighting against something. It howled in pain as the creature's skin began to start sloughing off. Beneath the old skin, it appeared to look purplish. There was bony growth that broke out. Also, the size of the monster started to increase. Once it seemed to stop mutating, it looked at Han like a loyal pet would. "Fetch," Han growled at the new creature. The newly changed creature began to bite into the other monsters and claw at everything. As each one was wounded, the monster would appear to repeat the process. Once finished, the original mutated creature would hiss at it, and the new ones would chase after its former brethren. As Han was killing off multitudes of monsters, he watched as his creation infected others exponentially. If there was no end to the monsters, then all he would need to do is create something similar. From his memories of video games and sci-fi novels, there were a couple of templates he could use. He just happened to use the creatures from a popular strategy game he used to play. To prevent his attacks from killing his new allies, he just pictured hundreds of fireballs that tracked the enemy forces. It felt like he was firing a machine gun in a video game, the kind that gave unlimited ammo as you cut down enemies. Normally, those kinds of situations would be dangerous due to headshots, but he didn't have to worry about that here. Are you alright?" Celestra approached him, covered in blood. Seeing him look shocked, she quickly said, "This is not mine. It came from those monsters. It should not be much longer until we get out of this. Sorry for not thinking of this solution earlier or teleporting ourselves out of here." He could have transported themselves out of this and nuked this entire area from orbit, but he had a feeling that showing his cards early would make things complicated. Celestra shook her head. "I knew that we would be okay." Horacia dropped from the ceiling and reported, "Master, the corrupted monsters are slowly pushing back the monsters, while also converting more of them to our side." Seeing that there was no need for him to continue to blast away monsters, he lowered his head and sighed in exhaustion. "As long as those things are not spawning at an exponential rate, my pets should have things handled." Looking at Celestra and seeing her pout, he asked, "What is the matter?" "I thought I was your only pet," she muttered, looking spoiled. Taking one of her hands, he raised it to his heart and said, "You're the one that matters." Rushing towards him, she planned a kiss and snuggled up to him. It was a ghastly scene, the way they looked happy while there were rivers of blood on the ground. Han noticed Val and walked over to her. "Are you alright?" Val was on her knees as she watched the monsters being eaten by the corrupted ones. "I could not save even one of them." Without saying anything, he placed a hand on her shoulders and watched the carnage in front of them. Han and his companions, along with Val, walked out of the cave. The night sky welcomed them, making them understand how much time had passed. Thinking that it would be best for them to rest in comfort, he waved his hand and made a large house appear. It was a very modern looking house, with lots of metal and concrete on the side, with tons of windows. Snapping his fingers, Han made all the blood on them disappear. He didn't like the idea of them tracking blood into his house. Walking up to the house, several maids appeared and greeted them. Not wanting to think about anything else, he said, "I'm going to take a hot bath. Have one of the maids direct you to where you can bathe and sleep. We can talk about what happened tomorrow after we have rested." Not waiting to hear a response, he walked towards where the baths were. Han proceeded to remove his clothes as he approached the bath. Grabbing a stool, he grabbed the shower head and washed himself. The hot water felt nice. Compared to the baths he used in Leaf Village, this area was almost the size of an apartment. This was to allow Aurasia and Annapolis to enjoy the baths. As hands began to massage all of his body, he tilted back his head and closed his eyes. After such a strenuous event, having his body massaged and washed felt nice. "Master, your thinking of corrupting the monsters was brilliant," Annapolis complimented him as her hands rubbed his shoulders. "I stole the idea from something I have seen before, so I cannot take all the credit," he smiled. "To correctly implement an idea is also a sign of a great leader," Brittany informed him. "You're right," he chuckled as Brittany began to massage his left leg. Why were we sent to such a dangerous location?" Celestia asked him as she massaged his right leg. While sitting on the stool and enjoying the pampering he was receiving, he said, "I think the Lady Knight has stepped on someone's toe during her time at the academy." When Celestia's hand stopped, he sighed and said, "Whoever sent Val to investigate had a strong suspicion that she would arrive at the cave and enter it. After entering the cave, she and her men would have been slaughtered." "Why would they want to kill her?" she asked, continuing with the massage. "That I do not know, though I have a suspicion that Queen knows," he chuckled. "Master's correct. Val has been very outspoken about the treatment of the commoners by the nobility within the city. This has likely caused the council to send her away on a suicidal mission to eliminate the threat that she posed," Queen reported. "Then why were we sent with her?" Celestia followed up. "The powers that are working behind the scene are threatened by the power that Master has shown. So they thought that they could eliminate two issues at once," Brittany completed Queen's report. "What?" Celestia shouted in alarm. "We need to leave Academy City right away." Her voice began to panic, thinking about someone trying to kill Han. Looking at Celestia and placing a hand on her face, Han said, "My pet, there is no reason for you to be alarmed. First, they do not pose a danger to me. Second, Queen would have alerted me to any issues that came up that required my attention. She's quite good at her job, so I rarely ask for reports anymore." "Master, you are too kind," Queen said. Seeing that Celestia had begun to calm down, he stood up and took her hand to guide her towards the bath. The water was initially hot, but as he got used to it, the water became relaxing. Walking to the other side of the bath, Han sat down on a throne-looking seat that was submerged into the water. Having Celestia sit on his lap, he rubbed her back to make sure she was okay. Hearing that there were people actively plotting against him was a big shock to Celestia. Though she was a warrior in combat, she seemed to be a lioness when it came to his safety. She may not be as fierce as his creations, but it still made him happy that she was worried about him. As she rested her head on his shoulder, Celestia asked, "What are we going to do?" "I do not like knowing that people are looking to have you killed. It makes me scared." "What do you think, Brittany?" he asked. Pondering on what they should do, she said, "I believe we should wait and see what they have planned. Considering the power that Master commands, there is no reason to spring the trap prematurely. How about you, Aurasia?" "I agree with Brittany. I think we should wait and see, and enjoy watching them squirm before we devour them," she grinned. On one of the armrests, he created a miniature version of Val. He watched as the mini Val walked around the armrest. Behind her, Han created a large line that was sneaking up behind her. I think that our little lady knight may be in danger now, especially when the people that tried to have her killed learn that she is still alive. It may be a good idea to have her sent to Felicitas. He made walls surround the mini Val just as the lion was pouncing. The lion hit the wall and looked dazed. It roared in frustration and began to circle the wall. Once the lady knight is safely tucked away, Han made the mini Val disappear and removed the walls. As he looked at the knight and raised a fist, Han said, "Then we can look at the remaining threat." He slammed the fist down and turned the lion into paste.